What's going on, everyone? So, one of the things with the Scream franchise, or Ghostface in particular, is the mask, right? Most of the films have actually had slight little changes from, like, the nose area to, like, the eye area. Some are more lifted than others. The mouth is longer, right? Like, every Scream film has kind of had, multiple masks or multiple kind of variations. And you saw in Scream 6 the cracked mask look, right? And that was something that fit the story, right? Like, they incorporated the masks into the actual story and had the purpose, right? Like, Ghostface was leaving different masks all over the place. The cracked mask was, Billy, and you had all of the kind of different variations of masks based on, it was like the calling card, right, for every kill. And that was kind of an interesting plot, interesting idea. They almost did something similar back with Scream 4. It's how we got, like, the fun world, like, different colored masks, like the devil mask, all that stuff. Originally, they were going to have Ghostface wear, like, different masks throughout the film. So Scream has always kind of toyed and played with the idea of just variations in the mask and different colors and things like that. And it's something I've talked about in the past. Like, I would love to see different masks included, or different robes, right? Especially if they go like the cult route. Imagine, the cult leader, whoever the head cult guy is, or girl is, right? Like, them having kind of like maybe like a red robe or something, and then you have a white robe. Or I've talked about, if they did something with the snow or something like that, it'd be cool to kind of have a white robe. But one of the things that I'm seeing kind of go around with the mask in particular for the upcoming Scream 7 is a lot of people are talking about how kind of sort of plain the mask looked. Like, a lot of people really liked the cracked mask and that kind of old aesthetic from the Ghostface mask in Scream 6. And I've seen a lot of people being like, how do we go from that to this mask that's just like the normal white mask, and it's kind of dull and whatnot. But again, it's because of Scream 6 and its storyline. Like, it wasn't old because, like, Ghostface just decided, hey, let's weather this mask and make it look cool, right? It wasn't like, oh, hey, this looks scarier or this looks edgier, so let's just, kind of crack up the mask, and, we'll drive over it with the car a couple times to to see how if we can make it work, right? Like, no, this mask is basically like the others, right? You have a Ghostface who is fresh and clean and ready to go, ready to dirty up that mask and get some red on it. And, like, that's fine. Right, this Ghostface in particular, right? The whole idea is burning it all down, tearing it all down. And you could argue it would have been cool to kind of have, like, especially if it does end up being Stu or something like that. Maybe Stu's, like, original mask or whatever. But you kind of, again, you already used the mask idea in Scream 6. So it's like, how does Stu get those masks? Like, it's just, to me, I'm fine with the clean-cut aesthetic, right? Like, I'm not so worried about the mask or concern of how the mask looks more than I am, actual Ghostface themselves. Obviously, you don't want, Ghostface looking like overly different, or where you're like, that's not Ghostface. Like, what is that, right? Like, I don't want to see them, turn Ghostface into something that he's not. But as long as you have the, the robe and, the mask and all that stuff. And what was Scream 5? Was it Scream 5 that had, like, the glitter on it or whatever? It might have been 6, but one of the recent Scream movies, like, also had, like, kind of like that very glittery Scream color. I think, actually, now that I think about it, I think it was 6. Had, like, the glittery Ghostface robe, and a lot of people were like, what is going on with that, right? Like, I mean, every Scream movie we kind of get this. Every Scream movie we kind of get the whole, like, what's up with the mask? Like, why don't we have a cooler mask? Why don't we have this, that, and the other? Again, to me, it's about how Ghostface is. The presentation, again, the aesthetic and the costume itself is what is terrifying in many ways, right? Like, Ghostface's ability to blend into like the background, right? Like, you even have shots in the trailer, right, where like Mark, Sydney's husband, Mark Evans, where he's like kneeled down, what appears to be checking on a body, and you just see Ghostface lurking in the background. And unless you really look, you wouldn't even notice it, right? And it's that ability to kind of blend in with the darkness and be able to kind of operate in the shadows and stuff. Right now, obviously the cracked mask or whatnot, but again, it has to make sense. It has to fit the story. So what, like every Ghostface from now on is supposed to have this weathered, fallen apart old mask? No, it's because Ghostface is wearing the mask based on the past killer that they were representing, right? Like, you had Billy and Stu and Rome and all these other masks that were being left at the crime scenes, left at the kills, right? Like that, you saw, like, even at the end, right? Like where Ethan and everybody, Quinn and Detective Bailey are all have their own kind of masks, and they kind of give you the rundown and explain how they basically got to that point, right? Like, yeah, it would, like I said, I would love to have different kind of creatives as far as the robe goes and the mask goes, and I wouldn't even mind exploring the idea that originally was planned for Scream 4, where you have Ghostface wearing these different masks. I've even talked about, like, if they go the cult route, obviously I mentioned the robe earlier, but even you could even do something similar with masks, right? Like, what if the cult leader has like this sort of devilish mask or something, or maybe maybe if it is Stu, maybe he does have a kind of weathered mask. You got to imagine, like, did he only have one costume? Did he only have one robe? Did he only have one mask, or did he have several? Right? Like, Billy and Stu, you got to imagine they probably had several in case they had to ditch it or whatever. You don't want to get caught buying another one. So I would imagine that, Stu, if it was him, or, a killer, some type of killer from the past. Let's say Angelina is the one that ends up, coming back and returning, right? Like maybe she has a cracked mask. So again, just because the other thing you got to keep in mind too is just because we got a shot of a ghost face in the mask or in the costume, we don't know how many ghost face there is. We don't know what that one ghost face could just be that one ghost face, and we have several others that all have different iterations and different type of like, we have no idea what direction they're going to go, which is part of what makes this exciting, right? Adds to kind of the freshness of this whole thing, right? But again, at the end of the day, it's about the execution and delivery of Ghostface. Like, how is Ghostface operate in this film? How is Ghostface as the killer that we know and love? Do they, is he, like, I'm more worried about the execution and the type of kills and kills period based on Scream 6, like all these. I'm more worried about those than anything else, right? The least of my concerns is is Ghostface's costume, right? And if the mask is super cool and stuff. But I just thought it was an interesting point, and because I saw a couple people mention it, and I was just kind of like, oh, that's interesting. And then, it kind of became a thing, and I was just like, that's like really interesting. So, I just kind of wanted to talk about it. One, explain kind of why Ghostface's mask was Ghostface's mask, because that was kind of the point that I felt a lot of people were either overlooking or not really privy to, at least in the conversations that I saw about it. So I kind of wanted to, of course, bring it over here, have the discussion as always, because that's what this is. This is a discussion. So, I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? Hey, Phil, what are your thoughts? Do you care? Do you somebody that's like, not like, hey, if Ghostface is, I just care about Ghostface itself, right? If the mask is clean and pristine, then it is. If it's not, then it's not, right? If it's cracked, then it's cracked, right? Like, how you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.